Walk or ride your bike to school today, highlighting the importance of safe and active travel. 5 News reporter Tiffany Lee spent her morning at a Springdale Elementary where the school rolled out the red carpet for this important day.
This morning, kids arrived to school in style, a healthy one. Students walked, rode their bikes, and even rode their scooters to school.
I just enjoy going on my scooter.
Every morning, Samantha Reck and her brothers hop on their scooters and head to school. Reck says even though she has to share with her little brother, it's way more fun than a car ride.
Just because it's faster doesn't always mean it's better.
Reck is excited it's National Walk or Ride Your Bike to School Day because now her classmates can do what she does every morning.
It makes me feel glad that other people actually get to walk.
Principal of Walker Elementary in Springdale, Lynn Ryan, says that this day is important because they want their students to get the experience of walking or riding their bike to school, especially in the midst of COVID-19.
In our times of a pandemic, people tend to stay inside and be on computers and spend a lot of time indoors, and we want to encourage families to get outdoors and exercise.
But not only does it help this day help families get out of the house and be active, but school health coordinator Mary Miller tells us that it helps students have a better day.
When you walk or ride your bike to school, it opens up your brain cells, and when you get to school, you're receptive to learning.
While in-class students had the opportunity to walk or ride their bike to school today, virtual students were encouraged to walk or ride their bike before their class time started and then send in a video to the school. In Springdale, covering news where you live, Tiffany Lee, 5 News.
Now, this is the 24th year for National Walk and Bike to School Day. More than 1,000 events in 44 states across the nation were held today.
Guys, you're not seeing weirdness or oddness, in that video. Because a lot of people are going to say, well, is that an old video? There's children wearing masks and certain people wearing masks. No. Certain cities across America, they still practice the masking. They still do that social distancing stuff. And, it's unfortunate. It really is, little kids, man, wearing masks, wearing muzzles over their face,
taking in toxic levels of CO2 by rebreathing from in the mask that can cause CO2 toxicity, which is dangerous, more dangerous than the Wuhan hysteria virus causes. Kids are generally safe from that. They rarely get it. Yeah, they might carry it, but Wuhan strains now, too, these years later, are weaker. So it's not a major threat. The bigger threat here potentially to these kids is keeping them masked and the CO2 toxicity. Because I and Michael, aka Savage, deal in real science, not pseudoscience, not what government grant money pays somebody to say. That's mask technology that has been known and existed for more than 100 years. You can look it up. As Reagan said, trust but verify. We deal in facts here. But yeah, bike and walk, that's great. These fat bastards need it. Well, of course I say that because being a shock caster, we got to add some shock value.
You're not afraid to air what the truth is, Joe. And I love how certain communities across the country are trying to practice the traditional roots of going to school, riding your bicycle, walking alongside with your friends. I remember that when I was a kid, man, growing up, in the 80s.
Yeah.
Times were different up in New York, they were. Now it's like, guys, I wouldn't suggest walking down any block in New York City with the amount of influxion of illegal immigration and crime. It's out of control. But back in the day, we were able to do that. We were able to, just go to school and not have a worry in the world. So, bringing back these, these roots, these origins of how school's supposed to be, I'm all for it, Joe. I really am.
Now, they made, first thing, though, You wanted me to bring up Wuhan so you could get me kicked off YouTube like you are, right? That's what I know what you're doing.
We'll
Kidding,
definitely talk
kidding.
about
But
that.
it wouldn't surprise me if YouTube doesn't now want to try to kick me off for what little I said, which was factual, 100% correct. Try to fact check me. Look it up. It's there. But I joked about fat bastards, but reality is far more of our kids are obese today than ever before. And a lot of others are just above the BMI where they should be. And it's because we are breeding a lazy society. They consider themselves active on their social media, right? And
Yeah.
that's what it is. They're stagnant and stationary online all the time. It's the parents' fault for not making them walk and bike to school more so they, a half hour of gym class during time they're in school isn't enough. You need to have them involved in sports. As much as I hate soccer, even lame soccer, because it's at least the least expensive sport to have your kid in. So they're at least standing there on the field most of the time, holding up their body weight. That's at least some muscle strain
Yeah.
and exercise. And then, of course, the times at least when the ball does come by them, they run around a bit. They got to get more exercise.
Yeah, they have to. And, I wanna talk a little bit about, the Wuhan hysteria, guys. I'm not gonna, go into a lengthy, discussion, as I like to try to keep these episodes short for the Savage Uncut bonus series, which is available all over the place, guys. Spotify, anywhere, if DuckDuckGo it. I don't do that Google stuff. But, it breaks my heart. It really does, Joe. It breaks my heart when I see little kids with masks and muzzles over their face. Because it's a muzzle, folks. And I'm not afraid to say it, and neither should you. Because what they're doing in some of these school districts and some of these counties and cities across the nation, they're forcing these kids to be muzzled like
Right.
dogs.
Yeah.
It's
It's not a health issue. It's a
oh,
control
it
issue.
is. It's not about health. It was never about health to begin with. It was about, like you said, Joe,
In our opinion.
control the narrative of the language, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And also keeping the masks on them in class cuts down on additional chatter. Again, a power and control mechanism in the classroom. The teachers and the teachers union just want to keep them quiet and subdued to get the indoctrination, like Walls brought up during the VP debate. I was passionate about becoming a teacher. No, you were passionate about being a left wing Marxist Maoist activists indoctrinating children, and you immediately created a program to parade them over to China, show off the pomp and circumstance, but not show any of the downside, the death, the destruction, the poverty of communism.
that was interesting because that was brought up, and there was a lot of, like, I wanna say cutting the mic segments off if, scenarios if you paid
I
attention.
remember one.
It
Yeah,
well, they cut, JD Vance off, and he was like, "Excuse me, we're gonna get into that, guys. I don't wanna go too much off the,
right.
rails with the,
I,
conversation, but
I
we'll
took
get
us
into
down
that."
another rabbit hole.
Yeah,
That's
that's
for
on
later.
another rabbit hole. Oh god, I got a lot of, discussion with that whole circus show last night. But, the kids today, I'm glad that it's National Walk and Bike to School Day. Let's get
Me
it back
too.
into society. Let's get these kids enjoying school instead of having that thought like they're going to a prison. Because it is. It's like going to a prison for these kids. There's metal detectors. There's security officers.
Wow.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
We're not doing enough on that, and I got a school shooting show coming on Saturday, October
Yeah,
5th to cover that. But yeah, you know,
Well, I agree, Joe. I
We're
agree with the metal.
we're driving these kids around everywhere
Yeah,
too much. Make
I,
them walk.
I agree with the security, the heightened security, but obviously in
Needs
cities
to be more at some
that
places.
needs to
Yes.
be right. Like but I mean, who's to say like, oh well, you're for that, but you're not for it to put in like rural areas. I just don't think it needs to be implied. Like put it where the areas. I mean, obviously, in cities like New York or Chicago or Detroit, yeah, without a doubt, security should be heightened up. But like, let's get these kids back to normalization. These kids don't even know what the hell school is about anymore. Really. I mean, it's disturbing. Some of these kids, like they walk, Joe, with stare look on their face, like they don't even know how to enjoy school. Because I mean,
Yeah.
most of that was like fun time was taken away, like shit 4 years ago. You know, now it's all
Yeah.
about indoctrination and telling your kids that Billy is okay to be Betsy and
Yeah.
Betsy is okay to be Billy, vice
Yeah.
versa. I mean,
And a lot of the grade schools, due to concerns, the kids might hurt themselves if there's a monkey bar out in the back. So, research, there's no playground at a
yeah.
lot of these grade schools anymore. They've shut them all down because, oh my God, Billy might hurt, might get a scraped knee. Oh my God, that's part
Yeah.
of life and growing up, people. Stop robbing our children of necessary lessons. Some of them are hard, they're not nice, but they are lessons they need to have to be an actual intelligent, thinking adult. And that's the issue. They don't want intelligent, thinking adults. They want brainwashed, mediocre, weak morons
Mm.
wandering around.
Well, that's society, that's society. They, you know, uh, like Donald Trump said, I was like, I think a couple days ago, if I have correct, maybe last week, one of his rallies. I believe it was part of his Valdosta trip just earlier this week when he was assessing the damage from Hurricane Helene. He did make a small comment with the schools, and he says, like we need to get the radicalization, and I love how we use that term because it's radicalization in the school system today. We need to get it to hell out of the school system, and I applaud Donald Trump for saying that because there is a huge amount of radicalization in the school system today in America, and it needs to stop. And kids need to enjoy school, not be forced into learning I don't even want to say programs, Joe. Learning crap that they don't need to be learning about. Like LGBT. Who the hell? I mean, come on. We talk about that all the time on the show. You don't need to be teaching kids this at 5, 6 years old. You know, let's teach fun now in school to kids. Especially that age. Riding your bike, walking to school with your buddies, right? Making friends. That's what school's about, and learning. Yeah, you're muted up right now, Joe. Yeah, some bear with Joe. He's having
Oh,
some.
okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. Yes, I muted myself there
Just
because
so
I
you know,
had something going. Yeah,
yeah,
but you're right. The problem is learning the real core R's, the old fundamentals we used to teach. But
yeah,
I wrote this in my Constitutionalist Politics book version of my show. I'm going to read this so I get it right. Bear with me. Savage. In
yeah.
the USA, the indoctrination factories and other supposed free society systems are peddling radicalism, raunch, perversion through like the trans and the pedophilia, racism through CRT, and anti Americanism, the new core R's that they left wants to our entitled lazy participant trophy overblown self-esteem buffoons. Again, I'm saying that to be shocking on purpose, right? To make the point. These know-nothing brats. Meanwhile, China is teaching their children the traditional core hours of reading, writing, arithmetic, history. There's an R in there. Science. I purposely misspell it and say, go on. See what I did there? Because our kids are so dumb they wouldn't know the R doesn't belong in science or virology, right? They're teaching real biology. We're teaching this idiotic, there are 1,000 genders nonsense. Again, science, biology, actual, real science, genderism, pseudo political nonsense.
Yeah, it is. It's nonsense. Guys, thanks for sticking around for Savage Uncut. Don't go anywhere. Those that are viewing us on Joe's channel, live stream will be right back starting soon once again.
Yeah, get your kids out walking and biking.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to switch the gears here, switching gears for another pre-recorded episode. Thank you very much for tuning into Joe's channel here on Jay Leonard Detroit. Get those comments in.
If YouTube hasn't pulled us.
Yeah, they haven't pulled us. So listen a little bit behind the scenes here on Savage Unfiltered Show. Get those comments in, guys. We will plug them on YouTube. Appreciate it. So bear with us, guys. We will be switching up the lineup. I gotta get a drink of water here because I'm slurring a mile a minute.
All right, I'm going to take a potty break. I'll be right back to that.
All right. Alrighty, guys, we're going to be starting here in about a minute. Thanks for sticking around. We got a lot to talk about here in a 45-minute show here. So I appreciate you guys checking us out here on YouTube. YouTube, yeah. Joseph and I giving you the facts on an unfiltered, uncut, unhinged around, guys. Join the Savage Army. Hit that hashtag Savage Unfiltered Podcast. And when you hit that hashtag, you know you're getting some good content. Right back, guys. Hey, guys, if you are a big fan of Live Rishi CBD products, I am, guys. Join them today. They are one of the most natural companies in America today. Head over to liverishi.com, spelled Liverishi. Okay? Check out some of their most natural CBD products. What I mean by natural, guys, it's not like your other guys. It's not like going to a bodega in New York or any other type of smoke shop anywhere and finding that crap behind the counter. These are very natural. They have no chemical fillers in them and no harmful HMOs. You understand what they are. Check them out today, guys. And make sure you say you heard it from Savage Unfiltered Show. Your exclusive sponsor here at the show, and I appreciate the hell out of it. I also want to say thank you to MeUndies. That's right, guys. At MeUndies, your irritation problems are a thing of yesterday. At MeUndies, guys, irritation does not exist. They're not like your Hanes. They're not like your Fruit of the Loom underwear. They make very, very, very natural underwear. Another natural company. I love these natural companies because, you know, it's pure cotton. It's not the fake cotton. It's not that China crap. It's real product. Okay? And they make them for both men and women. Join MeUndies. Ladies, don't get your your panties in a twist because it will not tug the see. So, and guys, it's not going to tug the penis. So, just had to throw that in there. You guys, notice I had to do a little glitch in my vocabulary. We're streaming on YouTube. I don't want us to pull the channel. So. If I would stream it on Rumble, that's a different story, but you know what I mean. Guys, we'll be right back 30 seconds or less. Don't go anywhere. Savage Unfiltered Show. Alrighty, Joe. So we got a good one today. I want to get into the debate last night, the circus show of last night between JD Vance and Walls. He doesn't even deserve a first name because he is a wall of a person.
Tampon Tim. Tiananmen Tim.
That's a nice one. I like that one. We'll use that one.
Yeah, Tiananmen Tim, because he's really peddling, as I mentioned on the bike walk special to school special cut. He brought up how passionate he was about education. No, you're passionate about peddling Maoism and Marxism. That's why you set up a program to take kids over to China and show them all the pomp and circumstance and look at all these beautiful buildings, not showing the death, destruction, and poverty everywhere else that communism causes. But in the break, what was that about a Dago named Bo? Oh, no, that was a bodega. Sorry, right. Hey, folks, I'm part Italian. It's just jokes to Joe. Remember, it's just a joke. If you want to, freak out, try to cancel me over an Italian joke when I'm part Italian.
Well, you gotta cater to the feelings because if you don't, then they get their feelings hurt. Well, I don't cater to anybody.
Yeah, again, I'm part Italian. I'm part Polish. I have no problem with Polak jokes. If you're part of the cancel culture, can't take a joke, go fuck yourself.
Gotcha. Yeah, guys. If you like the content, head over to the QR code in the upper left-hand corner, Savage Unfiltered. Scan it, and you'll see a lot of previous episodes of Joe here and countless of the personalities that have been featured on this show in countless of years. Joe, what you're approaching like 2 years on this show, I think, just about.
I don't know. I think it's over that. Yeah, and of course, Meow Man, as I call him, Bobcat Lament. You want to see he's more a cartoon character than a personality. You want to see some of those shows, of course.
Oh, yeah. He's a ring of delight. He really a ring of delight.
But, he's the other comic relief.
Oh, he is.
As well as me, Jokester Joe. Yeah.
The other day with the political
politics. Yeah. What?
I don't know if we should answer that question. I'm not really with that.
Yeah, well, like I was joking, since he uses a cat caricature cartoon as his avatar, and that with what's going on in Ohio, he better start paying attention to politics, or he'll get eaten.
Joe, he's in St. Louis, not Ohio.
No, but Cat, Springfield, Ohio, the dog Cat.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about his residency.
No.
He lives near the big arch, you know?
No,
Yeah.
it could come from Ohio to St. Louis if he's not careful. So he better pay attention. That's, again, not to get too political here, to get back to the debate, but that's the point. They're trying to California all of America.
Mm.
People, just because something isn't happening where you are doesn't mean it's not on the way to you. If you vote for these commie fasci socis all on the left, the Democrat Party is the commie fasci socis blend of cast of characters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wanna talk a little bit about the debate, guys, because I got a clip, several actually. Because last night I'm looking at it and I'm like, another debate of a Trump team demolishing a Harris Wall campaign. I mean, we've seen that with Trump with, the first merry-go-round with Biden back earlier this summer, destroyed Biden in a debate. Everybody thought that Biden was the clear victor, which I was like, Sleepy Joe, man, I'm waiting for him to be carted off the stage because he looks like he's going to fall asleep in the middle of it. And then, fast forward a couple months later, and, we see Harris, right? About a month and a half, actually a month and a half later, we see Harris and Trump, and the same thing. Everybody thinks, oh, Harris was the clear victor of the debate. All right, and then we go to last night's debate, and then we see JD Vance and Tampon Tim. I like that, Tampon Tim, literally battling over the stuff that they keep up promising that they're gonna deliver, through a Harris Wall administration. Oh, well,
Yeah.
we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna build a wall. Oh, now they want to build a wall. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, first, before we get more into the VP debate, let me say, since you mentioned the Trump debates, Trump agreed to 3 debates.
Mm,
He fulfilled that promise. He showed up, he buried Biden. He showed up, he buried Kamala. He showed up for the Fox News debate that he agreed to, and Cackles was a no-show. So he did the town hall with Hannity instead. So Trump fulfilled his promise to show up for 3 debates. It's
yeah,
Cackles that was the coward and that refused. She can only go on ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, all the friendly neighborhood and the media left wing propagandist broadcasts that hand them the questions ahead. Did you notice in the VP debate, she said no one was provided the questions in advance? And this time, I believe her, although we don't know. Someone could have leaked Walls the questions and she didn't know. But
oh,
you notice they said that. They
they,
said that now, but they didn't need to hand him the questions.
yeah,
They
did
knew
say
the moderators were going to ask every
well,
question
it was
in a
it
favorable manner.
it was a rigged thing, Joe, because like
Oh,
last night, they were talking about what the hell were they talking about? Something with oh god, where they cut off JD Vance's mic.
he
Oh,
fact checked them
yeah,
after they
they were pulling
incorrectly
they were
tried to fact check
checking
him.
shit that they were doing with Trump about
Uh-huh.
almost a month ago with Kamala Harris, right? They were pulling that same fact checking garbage with
Yeah,
JD Vance, and JD Vance he went in there like a freaking eagle, man.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
no wonder. I'm so glad. At first, I was like, I was scratching my head. I'm like, Trump, what the hell are you doing with this guy? And then afterwards, I'm like, wow, now I understand why he picked him because he's different than Pence, Joe. He's different than Pence. He goes right in, and he's not afraid to say, "Hey, wait a minute. You're not going to
Yeah.
make me look like an idiot in front of national
Right.
television."
Yeah, they weren't fact checking, they were spin insertioning. And he said, no, 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 I'm going to fact check your bullshit spin you just tried to peddle. And eventually, yeah, they cut off his mic because he was embarrassing the shit out of the moderator, showing yet again all the questions were made except for the Tiananmen Square question to Walz. They were all phrased to favor Walz and Harris. And he said, no, no, no. I'm going to fact check your bullshit. And they had to cut his mic because
Well,
he embarrassed him and showed it was 3-on-1 again.
yeah, yeah. Check out some of these clips, guys. I like I said, I got a lot here on the show. Not a lot, but just some, just to show you the circus show of these moderators. Look at this, guys.
He had 4 years to do this, and he promised you, America, how easy it would be. I'll build you a big, beautiful wall.
In Springfield, Ohio, and in communities all across this country, you've got schools that are overwhelmed. You've got hospitals that are overwhelmed. You have got housing that is totally unaffordable because we brought in millions of illegal immigrants to compete with Americans for scarce homes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The
We
CBP
want to have
One app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris is engaged in censorship at an industrial scale. And that, to me, is a much bigger threat to democracy than what Donald Trump said when he said that protesters should peacefully protest on January the 6th.
He was very clear. I mean, he lost this election. This was a threat to our democracy in a way that we had not seen. And it manifested itself because of Donald Trump's inability to say. He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future.
That is a damning non-answer.
Crazy stuff.
Oh, I ran to grab a prop. You've heard me say it before. I make no bones. I'm supporting Trump Vance this election. I am a Republican. I am a conservative. I am a constitutionalist, as you heard me coin. But over and over, when I'm on shows, it's why Savage has me here. I'm not here to wear my red hat. Rah, 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 my team, only my team. And this isn't a MAGA hat. It's a Republican National Convention hat from years ago. But Vance, I think, won on points. But again, like I said of Trump, he wasn't perfect. There were missed opportunities. But let me say, as someone who has run for office before, been in debates, been in interviews, sometimes you have things in your head you intend to say, and sometimes, in the flow of things, they get overlooked. Like Walz brought up Project 2025 3 times again. A lie. And Vance should have said, you are running against Trump Vance. Our platform is on Trump's website. You are not running against the Heritage Foundation, which that is on their website. It is not our platform. So that was a major missed opportunity.
He missed the opportunity, like I just said. Yeah, I just briefed that in there with that comment. He missed that opportunity to comment on the whole Project 25 because everybody thinks that, Donald Trump is the godfather of this Project 25. And Trump even said on live national television, I don't think he's going to lie and make himself look like a jackass in front of millions upon millions of Americans. Yeah. That I have no idea what Project 25 is. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's about. I don't want nothing to do with Project 25, nor do I even want to start near anything near Project 25.
I've read it. I think there are some good things in there, and I agree there are some bad things. If I were a candidate right now, I would say, no, I'm not on board with that. But, there are going to be things we agree and disagree with the Heritage Foundation. I used to be a member. Full disclosure, I got no problem with them putting forth their plan, but it is not Trump's plan. And the other thing is, in that clip was about the Illinois housing, another missed opportunity to put the moderators and Walz and the Kamalists in their place about communism is, Do none of you have any economics background whatsoever? Have you not ever taken? I have said it exactly this way to the moderators.
So,
Economics 101,
yeah,
supply and demand. You bring in 25 million people competing for something, the price goes up.
most
Moron communists.
exactly. Most of these people that are supporting this Harris Walls administration campaign,
They
whatever you
don't
want to call
know
it,
anything.
they don't know anything about economics. They have nothing. They have no clue and knowledge about financial backgrounds of brackets or any of that. They're just voting for these two clowns because they're not Donald Trump and they're not JD Vance. That's why.
Right.
These are the same idiots that would still vote for a Biden Harris reelection in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think I'm crazy, folks?
Well,
Seriously.
remember when Bill Clinton won, James Carville came up with, it's the economy, stupid. Well,
Yeah.
that's what it is again now. I've got several pieces that I wrote at Before It's News and thelibertybeacon.com on this. It's the economy, stupid. We need to focus on that, right? The whole point. One piece I wrote is the number 6 always better than the number 3 because 6 is bigger than 3. And that's a trick question. If you understand economics and accounting 101, you got to look at both sides of the ledger, the debits and the credits, the ins and the outs. A 6% increase in a Biden year, that inflation is 9%, you're losing money, moron. But Trump, you only got a 3% increase. Well, yeah, 6% increase, bigger than 3% increase. But in Trump's years, inflation was 1.5%. You actually were gaining ground. You were getting ahead. You had more money. That's why you see the ad. I should have said before the show so you could have pulled the ad to show that higher wages as adjusted for inflation.
That's over. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Trump years,
Yeah,
higher wages in the Trump years because of the 6-3 thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that ad in a little bit because it's trending all over the place on TikTok, including Twitter X, guys. But
basic economics and accounting.
Yeah, I gotta get a quick break in, guys. Thank you very much to the folks over there at Monkey Colt Coffee Company, where boozy coffee is just better. That's right, guys. Had an opportunity, going back months and months ago, talking to the actual CEO and founder of this amazing company in the great state of Florida, right over in Tampa Bay, guys. He's a very young entrepreneur slash business owner that came up with a concept of actually infusing liquor and alcohol in coffee. Yeah, I was blown away. I'm talking to my manager, producer of the show, Daniel Richardson, Shaky here, and I'm like, can they do that? Alcohol, liquor, and coffee, man. Like I'm gonna want to taste this. So they sent me a sample pack, and obviously they sponsored the show too. Joe's got some samples that were shipped up to him in Detroit, and I don't know if you tried it out, Joe. I'm not, you told me you're not a big fan of coffee, but it's amazing, guys. It really is. I mean, it's so rich and natural. It's another coffee company that doesn't give you the jitters. It doesn't give you that crash like usually after 20 minutes. It's really, really good stuff, guys. Check them out today. Scan the QR code and use code SAVAGE at checkout. And
I gave the sample that I got away to someone who I know would appreciate it, who was a coffee drinker, and so I could get honest feedback. And indeed, they love it. They love it. And the blackout. That and blackout. Oh, you got to get blackout or Monkey Cult. Those are the only two on the planet coffee you want to deal with.
Yeah, the guys over there at Monkey Cult, especially, I mean, two amazing umbrellas of coffee companies right in the state of Florida, guys. Monkey Cult over in Tampa, Blackout Coffee headquartered in Stewart, Florida, over there in Martin County.
I include links to both of them in my show notes for every one of my Constitutionalist Politics podcast show notes too.
Yeah. Scan the QR code, guys, and also show the love to Joe because they are a partnered with the show here as well as Constitutionalist Politics podcast. There, Joe.
Hey, you got the name right.
Took me a couple weeks to get it, a couple months, but we got it.
You and your vocabulary sometimes, right? We tease Savage. It's all in good fun, but sometimes his mouth. Hey, it happens to all of us. Sometimes my mouth and my brain don't cooperate either.
You know what? I'm going to give a plug because I always love giving great plugs to great individuals. My good friend up in New Jersey, Walt Blau, right, over at B Raw Podcast. I know you're listening, Walt. He's constantly making fun of me. He's like, you know what, Michael Savage, you're great on the mic, right? You're great on the mic, but you got some crazy vocabulary skills. I'm like, well, that's what happens when you grow up in New York City. You get,
New Yorker, yeah, what mad are you? And the sour apple, right? The sour apple.
Yeah. I'm spitting here. I'm getting excited. I grew up in Astoria, so it's the city.
What, hysteria?
No, Astoria. Right next to Flushing, right below Jamaica.
Just playing.
Donald Trump country, I call it.
Yeah. Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about the debate. Yeah,
we're talking about debate. We got some time left on the show, guys. But check out this next clip. Oh, it's funny as hell. This is where JD Vance is like turning his head. He's almost pulled like a Donald moment. Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Check this out.
About our CBS News polling, which does show that a majority of Americans, more than 50%, support mass deportations.
Look, we fix this issue with a bill that is necessary, but the issue on this is what happens when you don't want to solve it. You demonize it. And we saw this, and Senator Vance, and it surprises me on this, talking about and saying, I will create stories to bring attention to this. That vilified a large number of people who were here legally in the community of Springfield. The Republican governor said, it's not true, don't do it. There's consequences for this. There's consequences. We could come together. Senator Langford did it. We could come together and solve this if we didn't let Donald Trump continue to make it an issue. And the consequences in Springfield were the governor had to send state law enforcement to escort kindergartners to school. I believe Senator Vance wants to solve this, but by standing with Donald Trump and not working together to find a solution, it becomes a talking point. And when it becomes a talking point like this, we dehumanize and villainize other human beings.
Tim, Governor, your time is up. Senator, I'll give you 1 minute, but let me just ask you the question first. The governor has made the point, and I think as a sitting lawmaker, you know that Congress controls the purse strings and any funding. So you have said repeatedly that Donald Trump would, through executive action, solve this. Do you disagree that Congress controls the purse strings and would need to support many of the changes that you would actually want to implement? You have 1 minute.
Look, Margaret, first of all, the gross majority of what we need to do at the southern border is just empowering law enforcement to do their job. I've been to the southern border more than our borders are. Kamala Harris has been. And it's actually heartbreaking because the Border Patrol agents, they just want to be empowered to do their job. Of course, additional resources would help, but most of this is about the president and the vice president empowering our law enforcement to say, if you try to come across the border illegally, you've got to stay in Mexico, you've got to go back through proper channels. Now, Governor Walz brought up the community of Springfield, and he's very worried about the things that I've said in Springfield. Look, in Springfield, Ohio, and in communities all across this country, you've got schools that are overwhelmed. You've got hospitals that are overwhelmed. You have got housing that is totally unaffordable because we brought in millions of illegal immigrants to compete with Americans for scarce homes. The people that I'm most worried about in Springfield, Ohio, are the American citizens who have had their lives destroyed by Kamala Harris's open border. It is a disgrace, Tim. And I actually think, I agree with you. I think you want to solve this problem, but I don't think that Kamala Harris does.
I got an issue here, guys. I'm surprised that the moderators didn't snake their way in with a side comment. Very surprised. Towards the middle of the end of that segment that Senator Vance was getting into. We have a border issue. We do. We have an extreme border issue.
But they did insert, Mike. Here's how. If anyone out there thinks these weren't biased moderators, you weren't paying attention. Did you notice in their tone and in what they say, language matters. Every time Walz would say something, they said to Vance, Tim Walz made the point in that we agree with him. He's right. Whatever you say is going to be bullshit. And every time they would say of Vance to Walz, Vance alleges as if it's false on its face. And okay, Tim, correct him. And the body language, as you mentioned, even the moderators, the body language. Newsmax had a body language expert on, of course, and Walz is, with the shrugs and all that, showing he was lying all the time.
In the first and only vice presidential debate between Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance, both men asked if they would support a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran, after Iran launched the largest ever ballistic missile attack on Israel yesterday.
And look, it is up to Israel what they think they need to do to keep their country safe, and we should support our allies wherever they are when they're fighting the bad guys.
Israel's ability to be able to defend itself is absolutely fundamental. Getting its
another dodge,
hostages back,
the anti-Semitic party, and they're trying to have it both ways now during the election.
Abortion rights Walz accusing the Trump campaign of planning to create a registry of pregnancies.
Murder isn't care,
if not impossible.
And the registry of abortions is not anywhere on Trump's plan. It's yet another lie. They don't oppose IVF. Another lie.
No, certainly we won't.
On the issue of immigration, Vance pressed on Trump's plan for mass deportations.
I had a mother who struggled with opioid addiction and has gotten clean. I don't want people who are struggling with addiction to be deprived of their second chance because Kamala Harris let in fentanyl into our communities at record levels. So you've got to stop the bleeding.
Look, the open borders got to be closed. And the whole thing about that, the other note I made was like Henry on the other day. I think he's a fraud. He's phony. I'm in the middle. I'm an independent. I'm a moderate act while he's spewing every ultra left-wing talking point on the planet there is. He's a fraud. He's a leftist. He's trying to fool people like Walz did. He talked about, there's a bill. Do you know what the bill is? It's an amnesty bill. And only one Republican, Langford that he mentioned, one Republican signed on it, and they want to call it bipartisan. That's bullshit. It's a lie. It's an amnesty bill. Yeah, there's a line for a couple million for a few more judges, a line for a couple $1 million for more border agents. But those are meant to process them, to grant them amnesty. The bill is really about. They lie.
They lie all the time, and I'm glad, guys, that certain celebrities are waking up. I got a clip here. I'm going to plug in here in a moment. Celebrity Rob Schneider weighing his thoughts on the whole Harris Walz agenda. Their policy. I mean, he's even. I don't want to say he's waking up. I think he's always been awakened. Right, he always been wakened to politics.
He's always been a conservative, but he's been quiet about it. Now he's being
very
vocal.
Quiet. Yeah,
all these other celebrities are speaking out, so why shouldn't he? He knows what's his face, Adam Sandler, his buddy, is always going to help put him in movies. So he'll have income coming, unlike some other actors and actresses who can't speak up. They're afraid for their paycheck. They'll be blacklisted. But yeah, so he's speaking up. I love Swifties for Trump on the internet. I don't care that Taylor Swift, who's old.
She needs a lot of money. Speaking of Taylor Swift, did you see that? If you guys paid attention, I'll put it up in there again, guys. If you see that. Check out this on the bottom. This week's news, guys. We put out these little tickers here. Pay attention to the bottom. If you look at the bottom of my ticker, Taylor Swift is losing a huge amount of money, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, she's got her millions. So the communomics of Walz, Harris, and Biden won't hurt her. They will hurt her fans who are dads trying to scrape up enough money to take their daughters to an outrageously priced Swiss concert.
There it
She's
is.
got
Yeah.
her millions,
You
but
see right there, Joe?
Swifties,
Right
yeah,
there. Taylor Swift loses 2 million Spotify listeners after Kamala Harris endorsement. Oh my!
yeah, but that's the point. She's got her money. It's her fans who will hurt. And her whole career is songs about her lack of ability to judge character. So now she's in Men, right? About all her breakup. She's a piss poor judge of character of men. While her endorsement of Harris now just proves she's also a shit judge of character of women, too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And her fans are reacting. Swifties for Trump.
yeah, yeah. Donald Trump, he's got some comments on last night's debate. He said, "JD Vance, just have some fun. Check it out, guys."
I said, JD, have fun. That's true. JD, that's right. We have a big deal going on, and I said, JD, have a lot of fun. He's a smart guy. He's been amazing. He's been a real warrior. Top student at Yale. He was a very brilliant guy in so many different ways. And he's a very hard worker. He goes around and he's not afraid of the media. He'd stand here and he'd answer all of your questions. I have a lot of people that wouldn't do that. They don't like doing that. They get shouted at, and they don't like being shouted at. But JD is very much a warrior, very much a warrior. Thank you very much.
Oh, he is a warrior. He's another Trump, and I'm glad that Trump picked him. At first, again, guys, I was questioning Trump's decision on that. I'm like, what the hell? I thought it might have been Tulsi Gabbard. I was hoping it was going to be Kristi Noem, but I think Joe did he? I think
wanted
pretty good.
Yeah, I wanted Noem too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I thought I talked to you on air about this before, but maybe it was Rick Walker of Maverick News. Also, you and me, none of us like identity politics,
No.
but Abraham Lincoln didn't get to say Gettysburg, Schmettysburg, let them have it. Then they could march all into the North wherever they wanted to go. Sometimes the enemy picks a battleground you have to fight. And J.D. Vance is a slight identity politics pick without him being female or black, which would be obvious because of his upbringing, his hillbilly elegy story, right? The left, redneck and hillbilly are four-letter derogative terms, but Vance turns it into a positive, as does Lady Redneck Stephanie Lee, who I'd add my show. She's got a tune called A Little Rednecky, right? We got to reclaim those terms. They're not negative. They're not derogatory. They're not stupid people. They're just a different kind of folksy, laid-back culture. That's not negative, but the left call them flyover country. So Vance brings hillbilly as an identity politics play that's silent. I'm the only one openly talking about it, but that hint is there because, like it or not, again, you have to fight on battlegrounds the enemy stakes or you surrender. Strategically Stupid, a show I just released. Are you stupid? You're just going to surrender ground to the enemy? That is stupid. Like I say, the smart leaders studied The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Stupid leaders, like many in America, studied The Art of Stupid by Sun Byrne. A lot of people, even on my side, on the right, are strategically stupid. They're more sunburned than intelligent Sun Tzu.
I heard that term.
Legitimate good tactics, yes.
Yeah, I heard that term you used on your show earlier this week, guys. If you paid attention, Joe does mention that term, sunburn, if you paid attention to his episode. But guys,
and it's very apropos because of Biden on the beach all the time, right? I coined that phrase last year. And now Biden's making it also perfect by being on the beach all the time. You're either strategically smart like a Sun Tzu or strategically stupid like idiot Biden out there getting a sunburn. So it works in multiple levels now.
yeah.
It's like I'm paying him to help me, but I'm not.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Guys, before we close it out, I do want to direct your attention here on the screen, guys. Please, we're going to be doing a live show. That's right, guys. A live podcast show up in Pittsburgh. It's actually in the outskirts of Pittsburgh, a little town called Tarleton. It's about maybe 20 minutes east of the city. I say Pittsburgh in the graphic here, the QR graphic, because it's literally Pittsburgh. It's like Stone Mountain for Atlanta. It's a little suburb, right? So join us, guys, November 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Excuse me. The tickets now, if you see on the screen, are $20, but there are two forms of tickets, guys. You can check us out on the live stream. The live stream will be at Podudi, which is the same QR code, guys. If you scan this QR code, you can get all the ticket information there to check us live on their website, as well as in person. Now, if you want to see me live in person, I hope.
I don't know why anybody would, but I'm kidding. I'm kidding, of course.
I hope.
I've got a joke for this too. Pittsburgh, right?
Let me get the plug in, buddy. Joe's he's right there, man. He's like fire, ready to just ignite. But check us out, guys, in person, because I think in person is always best than live streaming, right? But it's available in two formats: live streaming and in person. In person, guys, the tickets are available for $20. A lot of great acts have been there: podcasters, comedians, voiceover artists, ventriloquists. My good friend April that I have on the show, April Brucker, she's had her act there with her political puppets and dolls and everything. So it's going to be really fun, guys. November 10th, 7 p.m. Eastern. All the information, parking, ticket information can be found right there on the website. Appreciate it. What's your
now? Two things.
You're like my friend Timmy. You're wasting my plugs.
Yeah. Seriously, though, I joke, I tease Michael Savage, a.k.a. Savage. Why would anybody want to see him? But it's a joke. Jokester Joe. It's just a joke. It's a loving jab. Seriously, you do want to see this. And the other thing is it's not in the pit. It's Pittsburgh adjacent. Ba-dum-bum. Jab.
From the high-stakes vice presidential showdown between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. But watch out, J.D. Team Walz seems to be laying a trap. They're acting all nervous that the governor will blow it and even taking to the airwaves to lower expectations. Watch this.
I just think we need to lower expectations a little bit because then we can all be pleasantly surprised if I'm wrong and that Tim Walz just mops the floor with him.
Trying to pin him as extreme, out of touch, and all of that. I think that's where he's going to go really, really hard. If it's joyful warrior versus grumpy young guy trying to represent grumpy old guy, I think it would be a win.
And Donald Trump is getting in on the pre-debate fun by taking this shot at Tim Walz. Watch.
You'll see it tomorrow with JD. It'll be stacked. He's going up against a moron, a total moron. How she picked him is unbelievable. And I think it's a big factor. There's something wrong with that guy. He's sick.
He is a moron.
You know what? Yeah, he called himself a knucklehead about. Sometimes I misspeak. No. We do hours and hours and hours of show. Yes, we misspeak, but honest people like us correct ourselves when we catch or somebody points out we've misspoken. When you tell the same story that is a lie over and over and over again, that is lying. Not misspeaking, Tampon Tim or Tiananmen Tim.
I can't wait for Greg Gutfeld to I know he's going to run a piece sometime this week about him. I know. Possibly later in the week, maybe tomorrow night or the night afterwards. I know he's going to piece. He has to be running a piece. Check this clip out, guys, with Rob Schneider now weighing in, guys. Oh, God.
Rob Schneider, author of You Can Do It. The book just came out this week. Speak Your Mind America is in studio.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got a ton of tour dates, by the way. He's going to be in Wheeling, California on October 4th. It's next week.
I'm in Atlantic City this weekend.
Oh, Atlantic City this weekend. I'm looking past it. Why was I
Friday
looking past
night,
it?
man. Tomorrow
How rude
night.
is that?
Tomorrow night, man.
The 5th in Laughlin, Nevada. The 12th in Las Vegas.
Thank you. Yeah.
Which is also in Nevada, according to reports. October 18th, St. Petersburg, Florida. Let's hope it's okay with this hurricane.
Yeah, what's
and
left
Fort
of
Pierce,
it?
Florida. Yeah.
Hopefully everything's
so
okay.
it's exciting, but so is the book exciting. It's
Thank
a mix
you.
of your beliefs in politics, the country, your history, and your comedy. Some people would say that's an impossible task, Rob. Why did you take on this Titanic task?
First of all, I got into show business to avoid actual work, and this book was actual work, Brian.
yeah.
Brian. I mean, you had to research stuff, and then you have to look it up, and you have to check it, and you have to confirm it, and then the lawyers look at it. But it was fun because I got to look at some of these old sketches and stuff that I did, and some old jokes, and also just to comment on what I think has been a slide into tyranny in our country and away from free speech, unfettered free speech. So it's nice to kind of look and see what's happened because it's happened pretty quickly in about the last 11 years. And so you kind of look at it, and then I've worked with some really good scholars to. Whether it was James Lindsay from New Discourses or Roman Brizniak, and to work on some of the historical stuff in the book. And I think it covers some good ground. And I try to make it funny,
And you do. I mean, from Chris Farley to Norm Macdonald, you have to familiar names in the sketches.
Norm, yeah.
So, I mean, I'll play some of it, but the one thing that you reminded me of is SNL was something to look forward to. For example, I can't wait for it to start this weekend, but then I realized it's a new era. First off, they would make fun of Kamala Harris the way she did it to Joe Biden.
They will know. They will. They have to.
Or how about?
You gotta love Schneider. I mean, he's full to the point, and I agree with the last 11 years.
I've always been a fan.
The last 11 years, yeah, we've got into a full totalitarian, radicalized government.
Yeah,
and it's not stopping.
His silly, stupid humor, the silly, stupid.
It's part of the persona.
The gigolo, the male gigolo thing. Just good, clean fun, just silliness, stupid, meant to laugh, but everybody's so damn uptight. And now, of course, that he's out speaking as a conservative, the left will try to cancel him. Yeah, and it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Guys, you're going to want to join us on X. That's right, guys. If you like this show, if you like the live streams on X, you're going to love my appearances in countless of spaces. I want to give some hat tips, guys, and then we're going to close it out. I want to thank Dana over there in Bonfire. Always appreciate it, the invite to me. Again, the words, guys, because I'm showing heart right now. Sometimes I do slur my words, when I do, show realness on the show. But thank you very much, Dana, over there at Bonfire Community, a conservative Twitter X space. Always bringing relevant information, not fake information. Check out that space, guys, every night. They do it every night, guys. I don't know where they get the energy. Sometimes 5, 6, 7 hours. There's an old man in there by Angry Pop. Hat tip to you, Angry Pop. This man is like in his almost 80s, dude. 80s. He's at 80, maybe 81, 82. He's up till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just like shouting out the Constitution and shouting out facts. I'm like, holy shit, man. Where does he get the energy? So thank you very much, Dana there at Bonfire. Also, thank you to Marlon there at his space. He does a lot of the MAGA spaces. Always appreciate the invite. So scan the QR code, guys. That QR code will direct my presence in any of these X spaces. And it's always an honor being part of them. But, we're going to wrap it up here, Joe.
I got showing heart, no problem. Just don't show any other body parts. Nobody wants to see those. But I'm pumped. Just joke, people. These are jokes, right? Jokester Joe. But in all seriousness, Schneider, he realizes like I wrote on Before It's News, too late, like Reagan warned, are we a nation gone under? This is it. You're either with Republicans, it's right there in the name, to preserve the Republic, or you're with the fascocrats trying to create a kleptocracy, inoptocracy, mobocracy. They want anything but a meritocracy. You are either with those trying to save the Republic, or as we've said before, hashtag roar, restore our American Republic, or you're with those tearing it down. There is no like Henry pretend middle ground garbage anymore. If you're afraid to speak, suck it up. Put on your big boy pants. It's now or never. We save the country, or it's gone to hell, never to be recovered again. And as Reagan said, we lose freedom here. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, Joe, it's America's political warfare. It is our modern Civil War, folks, because we are in a warfare like no other.
Yeah, great way to get a plug in on that book. Yeah, I should have mentioned it myself, so you wouldn't have had to have mentioned it. But yeah, exactly. Mike's books, my books, we're all about getting people off their couch and restore our American Republic, or we're lost.
Check out the books, because the two books connect to one another. My book and his book. We are seeing terror of all forms of terror in this country. You're seeing madness. You're seeing chaos. You're seeing corruption. Folks, those are forms of terror. Now, when people say, oh, it's terror, terror is,
it's not just 9/11. It's not just 9/11.
It's not the terror that we're talking about. It's not a bunch of, well, there might be some zombies walking around with the trolls on social media, but it's the terror we're talking about with the mayhem that's going on in this nation. Because Joe's book, Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You, okay? That is the terror that's coming to a city near you. That is,
and I didn't even touch on it. Yeah. I didn't even touch on it, but like Walls tried to pull during debate, Trump will be Hitler. Trump will attack his opponents and lock up his opponents. We all know who the one is engaging in lawfare to try to keep Trump off ballots, or to try to keep him in court and bankrupt him, and try to keep RFK off ballots. But now that he's dropped out of the race, they're actually fighting to put him on ballots so he can draw votes away. It is the left engaging psychological projection, accusing us of what they're doing. That's a form of terrorism, right? We are going to lawfare you into bankruptcy if you dare come against us. That's a form of terrorism. They want to terrorize you so you don't speak.
Absolutely. Guys, we're going to close it out. I want to say thank you to another great sponsor, guys. A lot of people are like, Savage, the sponsors are killing us, but it keeps the show going without the sponsors. I'm a huge fan of production. Joe knows I'm a huge fan of quality content, material, all that. Without these sponsors, guys, it doesn't help us. With the production that I'm trying to give to you guys. I'm trying to give you guys quality production, quality material that makes it look good, right? I mean, Hollywood stuff is good and everything, but, like Joe's, he's not really a fan of Hollywood stuff and high production. But, with us, I do, and I'm not going to sideline Joe with that, but, I come from that industry. I come from that background. So I want to make you guys think that I'm not a hypocrite, but to give this content, this is what I like doing. So I like plugging these companies because they sponsor us, and I want to say thank you to Dirty Ore Beer Company down in Florida. A lot of Florida companies sponsoring us. We're heavily known in Florida, Florida, Georgia, California, the state of Texas. Big fans up in Toronto. Great Britain, Ireland. I can't name them all, guys, because it's a large list. of people that constantly look at us and view us. But thank you very much, Dirty Oar Beer Company, just picking up that sponsor earlier this week. Excuse me. And nobody has more fun than them. The Dirty Oar of beer. It's not what you think, guys. The Dirty Oar of beer. I like that little thing. Yeah.
Put your oar in the water and start paddling up. Now, no, I'm glad Savage said it the way he did. He's comes from radio. He's a professional radio guy. Lift up. See, I'm just your average schmuck broadcasting with a green screen from my living room. Yeah, I do it. I do it on the cheap. He's an actual radio professional.
I try, guys. I got out of talk radio a long time ago, and I merged my experience working with networks that I used to work with, and I'm not plugging networks in because frankly, I don't want to. I'm allowed to, but I don't want to because it's not helping me. It's really helping them. But I mean, I got out of that, guys, because I was tired of seeing what you're now seeing now. Okay. Everything you're seeing now in media, I lived through it already, and I'm still living through it.
Yeah, you saw the early machinations of it. Back then, a Walter Cronkite, who was a Democrat, at least pretended, put on an air of moderation and hid his bias 99% of the time. Now it's all their left bias is on their sleeve 99% of the time. And every once in a while, the 1% of the time, they might pretend they're a journalist. They're not journalists, they're reporters. They just parrot the left talking points as facts. That's not being a journalist, that's being a parrot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Parrot time is over. Cutesy time is over.
Now I got Margaritaville on my wasted parrot heads. Wasted away. That's a different kind of parrot. Different kind of parrot head. Yeah.
Wasted away again in Margaritaville.
R.I.P. brother Jimmy. R.I.P.
Guys, take it easy.